Welcome to our North Texas garden. This morning we would like to share with you our spring garden plan for 2025. It is a beautiful morning. Today will be in the 70s like it has been for the past week. It's hard to believe that just a little more than a week ago we had freezing cold temperatures down into the teens here. I'll take this weather any day. Okay, this is the plan that we made, and this bed here corresponds to this one here, and you can see how we start our beds. There's the yard debris from last year and used soil, and then compost on top for the top several inches. Last year we just planted straight into that. And we learned that while our plants did fine, we learned they would have done better if we'd have done a cover crop first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start, this half was done last year. So we'll put deep till radish on this half, if I can find the seeds. And on the other half, we will put fava beans while the weather is still fairly cool. The deep till radish I love because we have clay soil under these beds, and the deep till radishes go down into that clay soil, and then when they decompose, when you terminate the cover crop, they provide pathways for roots and water to go into the soil, as well as adding the organic material from the dead plants. And the fava beans will add nitrogen to the soil as well as organic matter. Down behind, you can see a plant stand with a bunch of plants, and we even have a couple beehives there. But we're going to move all that and put in another bed just like this one. And that will be where we put our compost for the next year. Anytime we take plants out of the garden, we'll throw it into the bed. If we have a potted plant that has died, we'll dump that soil into the bed. That will be a bed that we'll be able to start planting in next year. One of the reasons that we're doing a garden plan is so that we can rotate the crops. Different crops need different nutrients out of the soil, and some will even add nutrients back. And rotating the crops means that the different crops will be able to pull what they need from the soil and not have it depleted by growing the same thing over and over. And this bed is at the bottom here. And one of the things that I love to do in my flower beds, if you've seen our videos before, you know that I love to put flowers in my garden. So even on my garden plan, I have flowers planned for the ends of the beds. On this bed, I'm planning to put calendula here at the end of the bed for the spring. In the middle, wanting to do clover. This had cauliflower and broccoli and a mixture of other things thrown in. You can see the residual from the freeze that we had a couple weeks ago and see the damage that it did. We harvested what we could before it came and just let the rest of it go. It's close enough to spring that I'm ready to clear this out and put in new plants. So since we had cauliflower and broccoli in here, they're heavy feeders and they take quite a bit out of the soil. So in this bed, I'm planning to put in clover, and that will help add some nitrogen back into the soil and feed it before we put in the next crop this summer. And then at the end of the bed here, we have snapdragons that we put in early fall. And if they come back, if the freeze didn't kill them, I will let them stay there for this year. Okay. The next bed is this one here. And at the end here, I want to put in auguratum. And I found a variety at Baker Creek that only grows about a foot tall. and different colors, and that will be beautiful for butterflies and also for pollinators and beneficial insects. So I'm looking forward to that. In the main part of the bed, you can see last year we had okra in here and we had bell peppers. Those are heavy feeders. So the next thing I'm going to put in is greens, and they need nitrogen. So I'll add some blood meal before I plant, but they don't pull nearly as much from the soil. Also on the trellis, I'm going to plant sugar snap peas. And now is the perfect time for planting those before it gets hot, and they can even take frost. So I could have planted them anytime after that deep freeze and they'd be fine. We love sugar snap peas, so this whole entire side is going to be a row of peas. Looking forward to that. And then at the far end of the bed, I am going to put in some pansies and or violas. One of the things I really like about them is their flowers are not only beautiful, but they're edible. The bed behind me here, hello mockingbird. You can see the remnants of last year's jalapenos, and on the other side of the bed we had watermelon. So this year there's going to be a cover crop here. We're going to plant some hairy vetch, and that will add some organic matter and some nutrients back into the soil. Okay, on the next bed, on this side of the trellis, our plan is to plant cucumbers. I'm going to take out the Shasta daisy. It just gets too big and takes up much more room than I want to take up out of the bed. Instead, I'm going to put zinnias here. I love zinnias. They're great for cut flowers, and the butterflies love them. And then in this bed, I'm going to put root vegetables. You can see we've got a onion that came back, and down here closer to the other end, we have some onions that I put in at early winter, and they're looking a little worse for wear after the freeze. We covered them, but we may have lost a few. They're still alive, so I'm pretty happy with that. I don't like losing anything, but as a gardener, it happens. As John loves to say, gardeners kill more plants than anybody. In the far end, between the onions and the edge of the bed, I'm going to grow amaranth. And the variety that I'm going to do has red in the middle of the leaves. So it's not exactly a flower, but it is beautiful. And the leaves are edible, and you can use them in salads during the summer if the pests don't get them. One of the things about amaranth is that cucumber beetles love it. So I am planting it in the same bed as my cucumbers in hopes that the cucumber beetles will go after the amaranth and not my cucumbers. We've got a few pots at the end of the bed here. It's just a convenient place for them. In the first one, you can see some little green shoots coming up there. My daughter gave me lilies for my birthday, some lily bulbs. And this is the second year. And I just love lilies. It just makes my heart smile to see them coming up. In the next pot, we have a leek, and that one has survived the winter. It's a year old. It's ready to harvest. Looking good. This pot was something new to us last year. That is a black goji berry. I am hoping that this year it continues to grow and thrive, and maybe we'll actually get a goji berry or two. The black variety is supposed to be more nutritious and better tasting than the red ones. So I'm looking forward to trying it. In this bed, you can see we already have a cover crop. And when this comes out, I'm wanting to put in corn. Corn is a heavy feeder, so I'm hoping to add something back to the soil for the corn to take out. And then at the far end, which is on the east side, I'm wanting to put nasturtiums. I love that you can eat those, the leaves and the flowers, and they're spicy. And they're just beautiful. And here it gets so hot, I'm thinking that maybe the corn will help to shade those from the afternoon sun as the year progresses. And then at this end of the bed, my plan is to put in pansy and viola for the spring. And you can see in the corner, we've already got a lavender. Is looking like it's doing well. This bed also has some pots here at the end. Honestly, the first one, I don't even know if there's anything still in there. I think it might have had basil last year. The next one, look at all these green that's coming up. These are more lilies. I love that. And then next we have, this is a petunia that volunteered last year. And somehow it managed to survive the winter. I'm sure that's partly because I moved the pots into the greenhouse. It has a lily in here as well, and I did not know if that would survive the really cold temperatures. I know the lily will be okay. I didn't know that the petunia would survive in the greenhouse. But anyway, it looks like we'll have more petunias this year. It definitely needs a haircut though. And then in the last pot, this is a native plum. And we are going to put that in the ground this spring. It is a plant that is really good for pollinators. They love the blossoms. And hopefully we'll get some small fruit that we can eat too. This is our garden, and this is our plan. And you can see that we have these two beds, and in the back, there's just empty space. So this is definitely for the future. It's not there yet. These other small beds behind me, we just put herbs and flowers. So I'm really not worried about putting them in the crop rotation. Here at the end of the bed, you can see that we had zinnias last year, and we left the stalks because sometimes beneficial insects will live, they'll overwinter inside hollow stalks like that. So when we're past our first frost date, I will take those out, and then I will put in vinca. Vinca does so well here in our climate. It loves the hot weather. In this part of the bed, you can see I tried to grow peas with carrots in between, and there's still a few carrots growing. You can see one here. And a little bit of the peas are still alive, but they really took a hit from the freeze. And my staking for them didn't work either. So what I'm thinking is we'll just call that a learning experience. And the peas will act like a cover crop, and they will just add nutrients to the soil. Yeah, so we've got the carrots there, and I'll take out the peas and put in bush beans. That's my plan. And then in the corner over here, you can see small green plants coming up. They have been slowly growing all winter, and those are larkspur. So I am really looking forward to having some beautiful spring flowers. They will also make good cut flowers that I can bring in and make our house beautiful too. This is red Russian kale, and out of all the kales, it is the most cold hardy. So I will leave this for a little bit, and we have another kale that also survived the freeze. And we're just going to leave that one there for now as well. There's also some onions in here, and they'll stay. In the rest of the bed, we'll take everything out, and we'll put in more root vegetables. So there's already onions. We'll add carrots and radishes and beets. And something new that we're trying this year is growing jicama. So I am looking forward to having some fresh jicama when it's ready. On this side of the trellis, we've got the kiwi, and I'm hoping it survived the freeze. And next to it, I have not decided what to plant yet. So I'm thinking that after we do the farmer's market, I'll be selling plants at the farmer's market this spring, that we'll see what we have left over and then figure out what to put there. Okay, this is our last bed, and here I need to take out the last year's vinca, and my plan is to put marigolds at a bright pop of color. As with the onions, we have the same issue with our garlic. Even though we covered it, it definitely took a hit from the freeze. But there's definitely some still alive. If nothing else, we'll have our seed garlic for next year. And then the rest of the bed is where we had our spicy peppers last year. And my plan for the spring is we'll put crimson clover in here. That will have those gorgeous red blooms, and I'm looking forward to making tea from the blossoms, and they add nitrogen to the soil. So anyway, that is our plan for our spring garden. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time.